Love is rarely simple, but with some zodiac signs it feels almost supernatural. One moment you are being adored with a devotion so deep it seems written into fate itself, and the next, something tiny, one careless word, one cold silence, one broken promise can make their heart close like a door that will never open the same way again. These are not the signs who love lightly. They love with memory. They love with instinct. They love with the kind of emotional intensity that turns ordinary relationships into legends, obsessions, and sometimes ruins. There are people who fall in love in soft colors, gradually, cautiously, as if stepping into warm water. And then there are those whose feelings arrive like prophecy. With them, love is not a pastime. It is not convenience. It is not simply being together. It is loyalty, soul recognition, hunger, hope, possession, sacrifice, and deep emotional surrender. When they choose you, they do not merely like you, they begin building an inner world around you. They remember the way your voice changes when you are tired. They memorize the stories you tell twice. They attach meaning to your smallest habits. They tie your existence to their private universe. But that is exactly why they can also fall out of love so suddenly. Because the deeper the love, the sharper the wound. The more sacred they consider the bond, the less they can tolerate betrayal, and betrayal does not always mean cheating. Sometimes it is indifference. Sometimes it is disrespect. Sometimes it is being laughed at in a vulnerable moment. Sometimes it is discovering that the person they romanticized is careless with what they themselves treated like treasure. For these signs, love can survive storms, distance, poverty, family drama, and time itself, but it may not survive one tiny thing that breaks the spell. The 5 signs in this horoscope are the most dangerous romantics in the zodiac in exactly that way. They are capable of lifelong attachment, haunting devotion, unforgettable tenderness, and shocking emotional reversals. If they love you, they can love you in a way that leaves a mark forever. But if you cross a line they consider unforgivable, even over something that looks small to others, their feelings can cool with terrifying speed. Scorpio. Scorpio does not fall in love casually. This sign can flirt, test, observe, and play mysterious games for a while. But true love for Scorpio is never shallow. Once they let someone into the private chambers of their heart, the bond becomes intense, magnetic, and almost psychic. Scorpio can love you beyond logic. They can love you in silence, in distance, through separation, through pride, through years. Even when they pretend not to care, some part of them may still be watching, remembering, feeling. Their love is rarely noisy, but it is absolute. If Scorpio chooses you for real, they want the raw truth of you, not the polished version, not the performance, not the half-hearted compromise. That is why Scorpio can stay loyal for an incredibly long time. They do not give their soul to many people, so when they do, they invest deeply. They remember everything, the first look, the first confession, the first betrayal too. They can love with fierce protection, sensual depth, emotional courage, and unwavering devotion. With Scorpio, love often feels fated, transformative, unforgettable. They do not just want romance, they want merger. They want the kind of connection that changes both lives forever. But Scorpio is also the sign least likely to forgive emotional dishonesty. You may think the problem is something small, a hidden message, a sarcastic comment in front of others, a lie told to avoid drama, a moment when they needed emotional loyalty and you chose comfort instead. To another sign, it may look fixable. To Scorpio, it can feel like the entire foundation has cracked. They can survive conflict. They can survive hardship. They can survive a relationship that goes through darkness. What they cannot forgive easily is realizing that the love was not handled with reverence. Taurus. Taurus loves in a way that feels warm, steady, and eternal. If Scorpio is volcanic love, Taurus is hearthfire love, constant, comforting, loyal, and deeply rooted. Taurus does not rush emotional decisions. They take time to trust. They observe whether someone is consistent, dependable, and gentle with their heart. But once Taurus chooses you, they can love you with incredible devotion for years, sometimes for life. This sign believes in building something real. Rituals, stability, shared meals, touch, home, memories, safety. Taurus does not want a passing thrill. Taurus wants a love that can survive real life. That is why being loved by Taurus feels so precious. They are generous with affection, protective of the people they cherish, and often far more romantic than others realize. Their love may not always be theatrical, but it is tangible. It shows in effort, in patience, in reliability, in the way they quietly make room for you in every plan. Taurus can stay in love through hard seasons, financial struggles, health issues, misunderstandings, and the slow changes that time brings. They are one of the few signs that truly understands how to remain. And yet, Taurus can fall out of love over what seems like a small thing. Why? Because Taurus does not forgive repeated disrespect to their peace. The tiny things that break Taurus are often underappreciated by others, mocking their feelings, creating unnecessary instability, breaking your word too many times, making them feel taken for granted, embarrassing them publicly, bringing chaos into a bond that was supposed to be safe. Taurus can handle problems, but they cannot stand the feeling that their loyalty is being used while their emotional security is being ignored. They rarely stop loving in one explosive second. With Taurus, the ending is often the result of a sacred line being crossed one too many times, and then suddenly, one day, their heart is no longer there. The trifle may be a forgotten promise, a cold tone, a dismissive reply, or evidence that they are giving more than they are receiving. To others, it may seem minor. To Taurus, it is the final proof that the love is no longer protected. Once Taurus emotionally withdraws, the shift can be shocking. The person who was endlessly patient becomes unreachable. The warmth disappears. The softness hardens. They may not scream or make a dramatic scene. They simply stop offering their soul where it is not valued. That is when people realize too late how much Taurus had truly given. Cancer. Cancer loves with the whole moonlit heart. No other sign wraps memory, tenderness, longing, fear, devotion, hope, and emotional imagination together quite like Cancer. When Cancer falls in love, they do not simply choose a person, they begin carrying that person inside them. Their attachment is nurturing, deep, sentimental, and often overwhelming in its sincerity. Cancer can love you through your weakest days. They can stay emotionally faithful to someone long after others would have moved on. They remember anniversaries no one else remembers, moods no one else notices, and wounds no one else sees. Their love is intimate in the truest sense of the word. Cancer is one of the zodiac signs most capable of lifelong love. They can hold on with astonishing devotion. They believe in emotional continuity, in soul bonds, in the invisible thread between two people. Even after distance, even after arguments, even after pride has said, "Let go," Cancer's heart may still whisper, "But what if this is my person?" They are soft, but never shallow. Their love is woven from memory and meaning. They do not want a connection that merely looks good from the outside. They want emotional belonging. So what could possibly make someone like Cancer fall out of love in one moment? Cruelty. Not always obvious cruelty. Sometimes it is emotional coldness at the wrong moment. Sometimes it is mocking their sensitivity. Sometimes it is making them feel foolish for loving so deeply. Sometimes it is abandoning them when they are most vulnerable. Cancer can forgive imperfections. They can forgive bad moods, mistakes, human flaws, and even emotional confusion. But they struggle deeply to forgive feeling emotionally unsafe with the person they trusted most. Cancer's heartbreak often begins with a small scene, a message ignored when they truly needed reassurance, a harsh sentence thrown out during an argument, a public humiliation, a dismissive "you're too much," a visible lack of tenderness where they expected love. What seems minor to others can pierce Cancer's heart with devastating force, because this sign listens not only to words, but to emotional temperature. The moment they feel that their tenderness is not cherished, love begins to drain away. And when Cancer falls out of love, it is one of the saddest shifts in astrology. They may still care, they may still cry, they may still remember everything, but the romantic current disappears. The person once held like treasure becomes someone Cancer can no longer open to in the same way. Their heart curls inward, the ocean retreats. Astrologically, Cancer is in a cycle of emotional truth. They are learning that love without safety is not love at all. This period pushes them to stop confusing attachment with destiny. Leo. Leo loves with pride, radiance, and an almost royal generosity of heart. When Leo truly falls in love, they do not give you scraps. They give attention, warmth, admiration, protection, and the kind of visible devotion that makes you feel chosen. Leo wants the person they love to feel special, desired, celebrated. They often become more tender in love than people expect. Behind the confidence and glitter of this sign is a deeply loyal heart that wants to build something beautiful and emotionally alive. Leo does not just want romance, Leo wants a great love story. That is why Leo can stay in love for years. If they believe in you, they can remain astonishingly faithful. They will defend the person they love, inspire them, support their dreams, and pour energy into keeping the relationship warm. Leo does not easily forget someone who once held their heart. Even after pride steps in, some part of them may still carry the memory of what was shared. Their love is not weak. It is strong, expressive, and often noble. They can forgive imperfections, bad timing, emotional fear, even difficult chapters as long as the dignity of the bond remains intact. And that is the key, dignity. Leo can forgive many things, but they struggle to forgive humiliation. This is the small thing that can end everything. A mocking remark in front of others, a cold dismissal when they opened their heart, being made to feel replaceable, being compared to someone else, having their loyalty treated casually. Leo can survive arguments and storms, but when the person they love wounds their pride in a cruel or careless way, something inside them shuts down with shocking speed. To outsiders, it may look like overreaction. To Leo, it is the moment love loses its throne. Leo does not need constant worship, but they do need emotional respect. They need to feel that what they give is seen, valued, and protected. If they sense contempt, indifference, ridicule, or deliberate emotional belittling, they may fall out of love almost instantly. Sometimes their reaction is fiery and dramatic. Other times it is chillingly composed. They smile, lift their head, and emotionally walk away, not because they stop caring easily, but because they refuse to beg for tenderness where honor has been broken. The irony of Leo is that they can love with tremendous constancy, yet one tiny insult can burn the bridge. A forgotten special date may hurt, a flirtation with someone else may sting. But what truly ends the spell is the feeling that their heart was offered sincerely and received without care. Leo cannot remain in love where they feel small. Astrologically, Leo is entering a period of fierce emotional clarity. They are learning that love should not cost them self-respect. This cycle brings powerful romantic opportunities, but it also exposes where they have been too generous with people who did not deserve the gold of their heart. Pisces. Pisces loves as if love were a spiritual language. This sign does not merely fall in love with a person. Pisces falls in love with energy, meaning, possibility, poetry, the invisible connection between souls. Their feelings are often deeper than they can explain and stronger than they may want to admit. Pisces can love softly, silently, endlessly. They can carry devotion like a secret candle in the dark. They can continue loving someone long after logic says the story is over. Of all the zodiac signs, Pisces is one of the most capable of unconditional love, the kind that sees flaws, forgives pain, and still wants to believe in beauty. That is why being loved by Pisces can feel magical. They notice what others miss. They sense unspoken sadness, hidden hopes, wounded parts of the heart. They love not only who you are, but who you could become. Pisces can be breathtakingly compassionate in relationships. They can stay through confusion, emotional chaos, external difficulties, and periods when others would have given up. They often love with hope long after hope should have disappeared. Their attachment is dreamlike, mystical, and incredibly moving. But there is a dangerous side to that tenderness. Pisces can lose the feeling the moment reality becomes too cruel. What Pisces never forgives easily is emotional harshness that destroys the fantasy of safety. This may sound small to people who do not understand Pisces. A sarcastic tone, a blunt comment, a moment of insensitivity, a practical response when they needed emotional softness, a betrayal not only of trust, but of tenderness. Pisces can endure suffering for love, but they cannot endure the repeated destruction of emotional magic. Once they realize that the person they adored is careless with their delicate inner world, the love may vanish in a moment that feels almost surreal. For Pisces, falling out of love is often not loud. It is like waking from a dream. One second the world is glowing with possibility, and the next, the light has changed. The spell is gone. The person they idealize suddenly appears ordinary, cold, or spiritually incompatible. Pisces may still be kind. They may still grieve. They may still romanticize the memory. But the deep current of love can disappear with startling speed once disillusionment takes over. The trifle that breaks Pisces is often something others dismiss, speaking cruelly when they were vulnerable, laughing at their dreams, exposing their tenderness to judgment, making them feel emotionally foolish, or acting with hard-hearted selfishness when compassion was required. Pisces does not need perfection. They do not even need certainty, but they do need gentleness. Without that, the heart retreats into its own ocean, and the person who once felt like destiny becomes a painful lesson instead. Astrologically, Pisces is moving through a powerful phase of emotional awakening. They are being asked to see the difference between true soul connection and emotional illusion. This is the kind of period that can bring extraordinary fated love, but only if it is rooted in genuine kindness.